Thank you, Glenn. Yes, it's about, it has to do with, we spend a lot of time on shows and we have nice times and we had a real nice sport, and sometimes there are some troubles and we have to solve them. And then you go home and you're thinking about what I did wrong and how it happened and so on. And that's always it's always I evaluating a show when I go home and I think how was the feeling. In my former profession, I was the luck to do a lot of research on research in organizations and institutions, companies, with inquiry of workers, of employee research. And then and it mostly it was about professionals.
Luis, I'm sorry for interrupting, but now we have a question about the previous presentation. Okay. It is from Mauricio Garcia, and the question is, what is Luis's opinion in the amount of new fences we can have in a jump off? Do you agree in only 2 new fences, or maybe to have the rule changed to 3 new fences?
Yeah, 3 new fences makes it easier. On the other hand, until now, I was always proud that I could find a reasonable and sometimes also nice jumps off with only 2. And I think in lots of indoor arenas, 3 new fences wouldn't be a solution, because the jump off in lots of indoor arenas, it's about the design of the first round that makes that a jump off is there, and mostly you don't have even spots enough for making 3 fences. If you say 3 fences, it's for me not a principal question. If everybody says we want 3. For me, I'm not decided yet for that. So, the question is okay. My answer is not. No, I have to sleep on that. Oh.
Thank you.
Sorry. Is that it?
Thank you. Yes, that was the only one.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about this, and I said I did research, and in these research I did, it was often questions about what makes motivation, how is motivation, what makes the passion. And if you say what are professionals? Professionals are people who have, in my view of what a professional is a professional is someone in his job. There is a body of knowledge, expertise, and that expertise is used to serve people or situations or even systems or something like that. So a professional is working for someone else and uses his expertise. And actually you can say we as officials are professionals. Yeah? And then you say what makes the passion of professionals, and these 4 things are always in. A professional is for horse sport. We have something with horses. There is something. Maybe we got it from the family. Maybe we got it from our first pony ride. Maybe we got it from television or something. But there's something drawn us towards horses or horse sport. And we are not we didn't stay to be, or we didn't decide to stay visitors, but we got involved. And if you say, what is that? That is that we have a meaningful contribution to this. We're doing something in the sport, and we have the idea that is, for us, it's meaningful. We try to be a good course designer, we try to be a good judge, we try to be good steward, what else, ringmaster, whatever it is. But we want to contribute something, and that has a meaning for us. It has a value. The second thing is that professionals belong to a group, and the group can be big, the horse family, the horse sport family, but the group is all smaller. We have our team, our team, and it's our team is like this. We have a course designers team, and that's another team like the judge team. There's always the smaller group you belonging to, and you feel nice in that because we have the same language in this group. We have the same jokes in this group. We exchange to, and we all have some ideas about the other groups. That makes it very interesting. There's another thing is a professional is always up to develop him or herself to be the best official you can be. You want to be up to date. You study, you listen, you hear, you try to be better, to develop yourself in your profession. Yes.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but another question from the first part has arrived.
Okay.
So if I may ask you the question, it's coming from Stefan Helwig from Germany.
Yeah.
And the question is about the time allowed. He says, how often change is needed due to the new rule that is 1 penalty points per 1 second? I assume he is asking about how frequent the rule can be changed, but Stefan, please clarify if you mean anything otherwise. Thank you. And in the meantime, we have 74 participants, Louis.
That's good.
In the webinar.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Shall I?
Sure, please go ahead with the answer.
If I understand, is Stefan says, could this rule be reviewed? Is that the question?
That's what I understood as well. However, I'm waiting for a further clarification if he will write anything more.
Yeah, my answer is, and that should be, if you change the rule, and in any case, you need time to get adapt to it, because for me it was a rule that it was for me also a very substantial change. And I can say that after some months now, I have a better time according to this rule. So I adapted my time, my times for the courses, for the allowed time, adapted to this rule. So in former days, I was maybe too much to the edge. And if you are real to the edge, that very tight, then you end up on the wrong side. But if you now have a very tight time for allowed time, and you end on the wrong side, then you get masses of other points, and I don't like it. So at the moment, I have a time, my times for Grand Prix and so on, I think a little bit more generous, but I learned to have them short enough, but there's just a little bit more space. And actually, this rule helped me to get a better feeling for that.
By the way,
on the other hand, I don't like when young horses courses, young horses come out with lots of time for. And in that case, we should, in any case, decide the time allowed, take in view what competitors we have, young horses, amateurs, and so on, and measure to that.
I agree also about the young horses. By the way, Stefan did answer Louis. He said, I'm personally very fine with the rule. Must be more sensitive with that. This is what I read from his text.
Yeah. And in any case, we need to evaluate it after time. But it's now too short. But I can imagine that about after a year or two that we say, how was it? And how
But for the young horses, I personally agree with you.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to the social side of being official. I said that it's always there are four coming back. Something we have something with horses. The second is we want to belong to a team, a group with their own culture, their own inner group culture. We want to be develop ourselves. And then there's another thing. It's always very remarkable. As official, we need sometimes situations that challenge us, that we can say, this is how I did. You need sometimes a course that if you're course designer, sometimes you need a GP that say, that was a course. And as steward, you need sometimes a situation that you say, I'm proud how I deal with that. And it's also for judging what's the solution for all these decisions. They're just intermediate, that the rules are not so clear, and that you say, what's the meaning of the rule and how I have to interpret. So these four things is how we keep our passion. It's our passion, but they feed also our passion. And also it's very nice to feeling to get rewarded. I'm not thinking at the moment about money, but it's nice to hear when a rider says to Suwati, and he said, that situation yesterday with my colleague, you did real good. And it's also for course design, it's nice to hear that you say, nice course. So this is it. How you can lose your passion. It's mostly with professionals that there's some overkill. And overkill will say, if you do the same things too much, that's get too much routine, then you can see that excitement is less, and you don't. It's also that routine is you need routine to learn a job, but after that, routine can also be biting in your back. It makes you less sharp. So you can, by too much in the same way, boring situations, you get you won't be a better official, but a worse official. And it's also with course design. So if you do too many courses who are not challenging, then your design will not be the best. And then you say, it's good enough, but then already it's like that. Also,
does this mean that you have to be a little bit nervous always?
It's good to be nervous, because as long as you're nervous, it has a meaning and you feel challenged. Yeah. On the other hand, it's also very important to get the affinity with your team, with your group, because in the group you can talk about the things that are important for your passion, and it makes it interesting to have discuss things, and that makes it even again more interesting. So professionals, it's good to have an they call it intercollegial consult or something like that. It's always good to have it. That's about passion. I go to the next slide. And that's an idea I got thinking about what is our sport, and actually what is the model behind our sport, and actually the model behind every sport, and also the model behind a lot of organizational systems and organization is bureaucracy. It's formulated by sociologist Max Weber, German. And if you see, it was already a long time ago. And it's actually the layout for most organizations. But if you will see in the next slide, it's also the layout for our sport. Because what's a bureaucracy? Bureaucracy is a system of written rules and standard operating procedures. You can see in this, everybody knows what he can expect. Yeah. On the left side, you see that for the people involved, there are specified systems of tasks and relationships. You know where you're standing and they know what to expect from you. Also, it's not a powerhouse where someone has the total monopoly on hierarchy. No, in a bureaucracy, the responsibility has a hierarchy. You can. There's a hierarchy of authority formulated. And then there's another thing in down bottom. The hierarchy of this bureaucracy makes you as an official unpersonal. It's not to meant that in a bureaucracy, it's not meant that your behavior is like an uncle and a sister and a good friend. No, you're an official. And you should applicate the rules. And by the application, the unpersonal application, you guarantee the fairness and equity for the riders. So as you see, this is actually the layout that our sport is built on, of our system of rules. And actually every sport. So rules and procedures are actually tools to create the level playing field. Rules help us to be neutral and objective. And then there's something, playing a game creates constantly demands to specify further. And we know all, you have a rule and then you get a situation and you say, oh, it's not so obvious. We should add something. And actually there's always a cycle of gameplay. And actually, as soon as you start playing a game, there's a demand of, there could be a demand to adapt the rules, making new rules, but mostly be more specific. And then you start the game again and you think that you had a solution, but there's a new situation and you see that you still have to specify more. This is all about bureaucracy or the system in the sport. And that's nice because you see this helps us a lot. Actually, on the other hand, we have also our difficulties because there are limitations and situations also that you have rules, situations turn out to be complex. It has some gray zone. It's ambivalent. It's how we have to interpret this. And you see that actually the rules in benefit of the athletes, but often it doesn't feel like that the outcome is not that what you want, because you feel that there's something strange in the outcome. Many rules also are made for very specific occasions, and then in another situation they're non-constructive. They said, hey, how can that be? what's happening here. Also, this is a situation that makes us problems. Again, system demands from us as officials correct decisions and actions. Also, like course design, it's nice when you can think about 3 weeks, but in a competition, it's right here and right now, and you have not so many time to decide. Sometimes you have only 1 minute or less. So it's you see that all those rules helping can also have have another consequence for us.
How does bureaucracy link to common sense in our modern sport?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because bureaucracy has the assumption that everything is arranged and that all is clear. Yeah, but we know, and bureaucracy has the aim to always creating more clearance, more fairness, more and so on. That's also how society these days tries to, or government tries to. But on the other hand, we know, and all of us has that experience, that it doesn't work like that. And in that case, you can say, what we're going to do? Mostly you go to the judge, you go legal. Yeah, and it's very often that solutions are like that. But common sense is actually common sense is coming from a living world, the world of living, and the world of living is that you have a neighbor, and he has a tree, and you have a gate, and the tree is coming, and that you, as citizens or as neighbors, as people, talking about that problem of his tree, and coming to a situation that you both satisfied with. So it's a totally other way of communication, because common sense has to do with accepting the identity of someone else as person, accepting his interests, his interests, accepting his meaning, his view, and talk about it and discuss that and have an exchange of your interests and so on, and try to find a solution. It's actually the ideal world, because in that world you don't need rules. But that's an ideal world, and it's real nice. It's I see in sport how often we have common sense with riders. I've often seen that under very bad weather circumstances, that you gather and say, yeah, this competition cannot go on. We have to cancel. And that you see that with some riders, judges, course designer, organizers, that you find a solution. And actually, it's the nice thing that can happen. Helaas, mostly people stick more to rules. Okay. I go a step further. As you have seen before, I said it can also, we have also difficult situations happening in our task as official, and then the pressure goes on. And it's mostly that you see pressure affects your own thinking, and it affects also your communicative behavior. You communicate in another way, and it's always good to, under pressure, to have an idea how you deal with that as a person. And I go now to a very old model. It's the Rose of Leary. It was already in the time that I studied.
Louis,
Yes.
I'm very sorry, but questions are coming, so maybe it is time to intervene with 2 questions.
Yes.
Actually, one of them is about the passion, as you talked about passion, and the second one is about forgiving yourself. First, I start with the question of Anna Lindqvist. The question is, from where do you, over and over again, get your passion for course designing?
It's good. All these aspects I've on the slide are still there. It's true. I always want to. I can search for a better course. I have a course. I start with a course design, and I said it's not there. And then with my assistant, often Quinten, he tries to get a solution, and then I get it back, and I try again. And so it's this. And for me, the design is very challenging. For me, I like to be in belonging to the group, and I like to belong to the family, because actually on most shows we have good times, and good times to do our job. And also, if you have seen the rounds in Herning, in the last rounds, and also from the teams, I like to see that. And also there were some riders who said, they asked me before, outsiders, they say, Louis, do you think I can do that, the final? And I said, sure, you can do it. And then they come out with only 2 down, and they're totally proud of themselves. That are the nice things.
Okay. Thank you.
And there are, every show, there are a lot of them. And it doesn't have to be only top. If you build for amateurs or something, also, if you join the pleasure they have from their own performance, that's it. Okay. But not qualify them then, or not it has to do with not qualifying everyone and everything as not the best, and it has to everybody in his own performance and his own level of performance.
Thank you. Next question is from another colleague of ours who is a course designer, from Magda Erdeli. And the question is, how did you learn to forgive yourself for mistakes?
I didn't learn it. I still don't do it. I forgive myself, but it takes time. And it helps when you analyze. It helps me to analyze what has happened and why I did that, why I behaved like that, and why I wasn't prepared, and why I did. It helped me. So I was on a show last week, and then flying back, actually all the situations I came in my mind again, and I said, why I did that, and why I did that, and that helped me to forgive myself, because I was not in every situation real correct or efficient or effective. So learning from your mistakes is maybe the best way to let them behind you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm talking about myself.
Thank you.
Yeah. Was good. Was nice questions, both. Just to the where you think, yes, that's it. Coming back to the Rose of Leary, it's an old model, but it's a real basic model for how we interact to another person. And as you know, some are more dominant. You take the lead. Some people are more submissive. They wait for a moment and not reacting directly. And we have some of us are always see something opposite. They're more competitive in the way of approach things. And on the right side, you see together. That is the people who, in the first impression, always gather with other and try to make contact and so on. And as official, we are more or less in some of the squares, I think, or the halves of this. You don't hear me say that you are only in one part. It's your behavior is changing dependent of people who you are with, but also situations you are in. And you can say if you have a very how you call it, very dominant top rider, and he is criticizing you, then mostly we will be do it in another way, as that you get a very friendly rider who is asking you something and asking you to explain something, because that's totally other situation. In fact, if you say what's our job on shows, mostly we then in the right situation of helping cooperative, and depending of who is, what the question is or what the situation is, you are more leading the communication. And I have also once I had that some rider was telling me how a good course would be. So then I was actually only showing that I was listening, and I didn't react because I didn't get a chance in any case to interrupt. So then you are more dependent, something like that. And then so actually my behavior was actually non-reacting. So, and then he stopped also at a moment, and then he was clear, he was ready. He had done his story about what a good course could be, what should be. So it's mostly in that right. We are doing the right. We are as official. We get a good result on that right side.
Sometimes on the left side.
Yeah. Yes. There's also a situation on the left side. As soon, and I know a situation as soon as a rider is asocial and tries to really to manipulate you and being try to manipulate you and have real strategic in the approach, you should not be aggressive, but you should give him no centimeter, because some people are trained to get their thing done by your helping attitude. And then they take, in Holland, they say they don't take one finger, but they take your own hand, even your arm. So as soon as I think you have to do with people who are totally manipulative, then take care. In my situation, listening is that the only thing you have to do, but don't give him a not an inch, because they will take that and go further. And in psychiatry, they call that asocial personality, but that goes too far for this. But yeah, some people in the horse world are real brutal and are trained in this behavior, and we are more trained in helping and being cooperative, so they always win. Yes, talking about communication. Yes, it's funny, but also already in antique Greece, you had a lot of philosophers there, very famous people, Aristotle, you probably heard of it, and they had already an idea what is important in communication. And still these things we learned from them are still actual and still learned at universities when you are talking about communication. And in our world, we always think that being an expert knows a lot about something, the domain, and being wise, that should be enough. In the Greeks, they call it logos. Logos are people, that speaker who had the right arguments, wise arguments, expert arguments, logos. They should easily convince an audience. But also in Greece, they knew already that that wasn't the only thing. And also they found out that trust actually is one of the main things in convincing others of being believed by others. And that the Greeks, they know it's ethos. And actually you can say people have to know you as a person who you can trust. He's trustful. He's not changing like the wind, and is valuing relationship between people and these things. So this is without trust cannot get believed. And then always the people ask me, and how was it with Trump? And that's just a real good example of this, because people want to feel that they feel that if the same how they call it, same culture, same values, principles and values, they believe that. It's and that you see, then you come to the third thing. Trump is a buddy for them, and that's what emotional commitment. It's the pathos. He believes some is talking about the better America, the better USA, and so on, and they believe it. So you see, the third is about that you see someone is involved and committed and full, drawn to the same values as you have. And these three things still at these days are very important for convincing, but also to be a professional, because that if you can see, if a rider knows that you like the sport and you have a commitment, and he sees how many efforts you do, and you are also acting as an official in terms of unpersonal, no preference to people, but for everybody the same decision. You get more accepted as a professional, I think. So these are things good to know.
Are
And
these three equal, or is there a dominant one?
I think without acceptance and trust in this world, it's difficult. It's also the problem at these days in politics, because politics are try to use a lot of expertise and arguments in these times, but actually it's all about the trust and feel that someone has the same values as you, and that's that pathos idea. And if you go back to what we said, a passion of professionals, that pathos is actually in our team, in our group, in our family. Huh? And it's nice to have a steward team that you know from each other, that you have the same ideas about when to intervene, when to react, and when not, and how to deal with situations. So these three things make it really, can be really important to develop yourself and as a team to get a better, to be the best official you are.
Are there tips and tricks if you're leader of a team and you feel that somebody of your team is not really accepted anymore, to build that acceptance and trust, or to help him or her building that acceptance and trust again?
Yeah, you should. Actually, in what they said, in a living world, if you want to be a team, you should talk about it. It's not so easy to find the right opening. But there's still, in communication, is always still the hope that it opens up each other to each other. These things you don't need in a bureaucracy, because there is all written down. That's a totally other world.
In an ideal bureaucracy.
Yes.
Which is not existing yet.
Not yet. Working on it. Under work. Huh?
Under construction.
Under construction. That's the right word. That's right. Under construction. So I want to stop here. So it's actually this last slide a little bit as an addition to that we are actually living in a bureaucracy, but we shouldn't forget that we are normal people with passions, commitment, and personalities, and that helps us. I think it helps us in situations that our system of bureaucracy and rules and so on is a little bit gray, or we have not bringing the right solutions. That's it.
Thank you, Louis.